In fact, while I was out in the car today, I found a comic strip. And it has in it some things that parents do that tear off your identity sign. See if you ever had any of these or did any of these. It starts out with, "For someone with your intelligence, you sure act stupid." Oh. Anyone ever hear that? Why does that hurt the identity? Because it's about capable. Then it says, some of you are stuck with parents who don't act like real parents should. One minute they're all lovey-dovey, the next minute they're screaming at you. Remember last night I says, kids have told me, I didn't know if my dad was going to kiss me or slap me. Inconsistent instead of consistent. Sometimes this can be very scary. It's kind of awful when they get real mad and go berserk and say mean stuff and do mean stuff. When your parents go out of control, it's sort of like you don't have any parents at all. Yeah, no parents would be better than that, than a bad one. Even if it's just 1 minute flipping out, when the other one doesn't do anything about it. Under the guise of unity. If your spouse is raping the identity, the sacred feeling identity of a child, you should do something about it. Later on, we'll tell you about the 3 things that people always choose. Might as well tell you right now. A secret signal. Do any of your spouses have a secret signal? Please turn off your cell phone. A secret signal. You'd go like this to your husband, or Sister Hinckley used to go like that to her husband.
Did she really?
Yeah. I was at a wedding reception with them one night. And the lady came up to him and said, "Have I ever told you how much we enjoy the services you give us as our stake president?" Because he was. And he said, "No, how much?" Because he's a great big tease. And she went, "Gordon." "Oh, thank you, Sister Jones." The secret signal. It can be a signal like this. It can be like this. It can be a word. But anyway, that's what most parents will say, like when they're in the counseling room. What would you like your spouse to do when you're in your negative? And she'll say, "I'd like a secret signal." Others ask for a private conference. That's number 2. A private conference. "Honey, could I talk to you for just a minute?" The third one is champion the child. "No, he isn't stupid at all, honey." I don't think so. And the fourth one is the most intrusive of all. "Jack, you're in your negative now. Knock it off." So remember, even if it's just one parent flipping out and the other one doesn't do anything about it, you feel a little helpless and all alone. You know, lots of people will not say anything about their spouse's negative self under the guise of unity. It's not right. Negative unity is not as good. We're in for positive unity. Dissonance, Daddy's in his bad self. Don't believe him, honey. You're a good, wonderful child. Right? It's going to go great for later on. One kind of out-of-control parent is the parent who drinks too much. Yeah, a lot of that's going on. Or the parent who takes drugs too much. Or the parent who hurts kids or hurts the other parent. Physical abuse, verbal abuse. Or the parent who constantly makes fun of you and calls you stupid, ugly, clumsy. Your hair has split ends. I heard that the other day. Or the parent who says stuff that doesn't make any sense. Remember last night? Go turn off the water. That's no good. Don't turn it. Right? Remember that one? Or the parent who doesn't take care of you and give you good food and warm clothes. Or the parent who ignores you all the time. Remember that list we read last night? These parents can be somewhat upsetting. They can really screw up your mind because they're the only parents you know. So you think this is the way the world is, but it really isn't. This is a good comic strip for kids. And you end up growing up all weird and damaged and unhappy and stuff. That's exactly what we're saying here. And you end up growing up all weird and damaged and unhappy. In other words, your negative mutation self grows in place of your divine center, right? All I can say is, boy, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. I'm one of the lucky ones. And then from the side it says, get in here, boy! That's verbal abuse. You know, you can go in the grocery store and you can see some parents talking to their kids like they're pets or animals. Sit! Come! You ever hear that in a grocery store? And they talk down to them. You know, I once said, it would be better if you were mean to your friends and nice to your children. And most people are very nice to their friends and mean to their children. So if you have to be mean somewhere, don't do it to your kids. Do it to your friends. Why? They'll be dead before your kids. Let them have a chance. Get in there, boy. Anyway. Well, there's a whole bunch of these. There's a kind of verbal abuse called double messages. See, here's one. Shut your mouth and eat your dinner. You can't, right? Here it is. Well, just listen to something. Not now, I'm busy. Yeah, you can't always do. What should you say rather than not now, I'm busy? I want to play with you. I've got to do this first. Maybe if you help me, then I'll have time to play. I love to play with you. That's called praise. We're going to get into that. Here's another one. You did that on purpose. I just know it. What does that imply? You're a sneaky, conniving little communist, right? And I know you've planned this for months. No, Mom, I swear it was just an accident. These are statements that will make kids low self-esteem. Here's one. Go wash them again, they're still dirty. Instead of what? Honey, let me help you. I know you're in a hurry to eat. Right? That would be empathy. And you did really good. There's just a little bit of dirt left on the backs. And can I help you? Or see the attitude, the difference, and the voice tone? How about this? Just do it. Once a little boy went to do something, his father told him he didn't know how, and he said to his dad, well, I thought that maybe if I brought you this wrench, you could use it, and instead of the pliers, because I couldn't find any pliers. And the father shouts, you're not supposed to think. Just do it. This kid later got a doctorate of philosophy. You're not supposed to think. You're not supposed to think. Just do it. Well, how can I do it? I can't. And he can't talk. You're too little to know why. Go to your room. What would be better than those? Honey, we'll explain it to you when you get a little older. Tomorrow? Okay, maybe. Go to your room. Let's say, honey, you have to go to your room if you're going to hit your sister. Bodies are sacred. You can't just smack her. I'll come in a minute and we'll talk about it. That's much better than, go to your room. When a kid makes you mad, what do you know? You're in your negative. You're in your negative big time, and according to that Buddhist saying, no one can make you negative unless they have something you want or expect and they don't give it to you, which is a definition of dependency. Should you be getting love supplies from your children? Heavens, no. You're supposed to nurse the children, not suck them. Give to them from your fullness, which you should get from God, or your real self. Yeah.
What about the statement, because I said so?
That's right.
Is that a good one or a bad one?
That's a bad one. Okay?
What would be better?
Wait. When a kid, that sentence, that statement usually comes from a kid who's just asked why. Remember one of the very first traits of the human feeling identity seed? Wonder and awe, curiosity, innocence. Of course they're going to ask why. Now, lots of kids ask why because it gets your attention. They don't even know what why means. And they'll say, I hate you too, and they don't even know what it means. Because they want attention. So when they ask why, is it because it'll stop you and get eye contact and they'll get your attention, right? Or do they really want to know? And then you need to respond to their real need. And because I said so is verbal abuse. It makes you into a Hitler and a cop instead of a pal and a friend. Well, we do it this way in order to get the water to go all the way down. Why does the water have to go all the way down? Oh, so each plant will get a drink. Why do the plants need a drink? Instead of, where do you get those questions? I remember once a little boy said, Dad, why is there something instead of nothing? He was 10. How would you answer that one? And his father said, where do you get questions like that? Are you looking at my body posture? Hands on hips, eyes narrowed to little slits. Where do you get questions like that, Jeremy? They just come in my head. Because I'm a child of God, that's why. And if you don't know the answer, you can do empathy to a question. How do you do empathy to a question?
Interesting.
You can say, you're wondering why there's something instead of nothing. Remember that. You should write that down because a lot of times people will ask you questions. They don't want to know the answer. Well, why'd you wear your blue shirt? That's a complaint. It's not a real question. You're wondering why I wore it? Yes, you must have much better things than that. See there? You're disappointed with my shirt. So learn empathy. It will get you out of a lot of messes. And empathy to questions? Yes. You're wondering why there's something instead of nothing. Okay, so answer the whys if you can. If you can't, say, I don't know that, honey. Maybe when you're older, you can tell me about it. Like the father that said to the 12-year-old boy, I think it's time we had to talk about sex. And the boy says, okay, Dad, what is it you want to know? So answer their questions the best you can instead of, because I said so. Here's another one. You're not big enough yet. Act your age. That's a double. You're not big enough. Act your age. Go sit on the friendly clown's lap. He won't scare you. Boys don't do that. I'll treat you like an adult when you start acting like one. That's a put down, isn't it? Eat your Brussels sprouts. Yeah. If you're there used to be a theory that said, don't tell your kids to eat. Just like don't tell them to be weaned or to be potty trained. But then we have a rash of kids who don't have enough love supplies, and sugar is their favorite love supply. Food, sex, drugs, violence, those are physical gratification for love substitutes. So we have a whole mass of kids, if you let them eat whatever they want, they'll eat tons and tons of sugar. So instead of saying, no sugar, you should be saying, hey, I guess this kid has not enough sweetness in her life. I should try and give more empathy and praise and hugs. And maybe sugar won't be so important to her. See? Look for causes, not just fix symptoms. You're going to forget. That's what you get for not listening. See, you're going to forget, incapable. You've got no one to blame but yourself, you idiot. I mean, those are put downs. Now, don't make me come in here. What could you do that? How could you do that after all we've done for you? That's guilt induction. You ungrateful wretch. You just wait till your father finds out. What does that do? Makes Dad into a spanking machine instead of a pal and a friend to identify with? Dads, don't do it. Don't be a spanking machine for your wife. Wipe that smile off your face right now. Don't sneer at me. You hear these all the time. Why can't you be more like your little sister? That's what he said last night. What's wrong with that? No, we want you to be just like you are. We love you. We don't love your bad self. We love your good self. Now let's see. If you're in your bad self, it means you didn't get enough love supplies. Let's go have a talk and figure out some ways I can give you more love. Once I had a patient, and she was doing inner child work, where you go back in time with your eyes closed, and you lay down, because when you're laying down, your subconscious is bigger than when you're standing up. That's why dreams come. And she was doing a lot of self-hypnosis, where you close your eyes and you go back, and we'll be doing this together 3 or 4 lectures from now, and it's really fun. And she was doing them, and as she was going back to her little child, the little child was crying because she was talked to like this, and she held the little girl and listened and did empathy. And as she started doing that with her little girl, and I tell my people, I want you to do this each day, her little girl of the past got filled up with love supplies. Anyone ever see The Kid with Bruce Willis? Walt Disney? Be sure you watch that, because that is about going back and giving your little kid love supply. And as she did that, she started to get nicer with her actual physical children. She had a little boy, 7, named Timmy. And she used to tell him to go to bed like this. Timmy, time to go to bed now. See, she's really not mad at Timmy. She's mad at herself because she's not assertive enough. She's afraid the little kid is going to weasel her out of his bedtime. And the little kid always gave her trouble. And one day, after maybe doing 10 or 20 visualizations with her own little girl, she wanted to give her physical children the same love supplies that she was giving her inner child in the hypnosis or visualizations. And she said to him, Timmy, it's bedtime now, honey. Would you like to go to bed? And he said, no, I don't like to go to bed. And she remembered empathy. She knelt down on the floor because she would be his size. And she would see what he sees from down here. And she said, oh yeah, it's no fun to go in your bedroom all alone in the dark with the door shut, and we're out here eating popcorn and watching TV. And the little kid was aghast. And he said, Mommy, do you know stuff like that? He'd never heard of empathy in his whole life. Mommy, do you know stuff like that? She says, yes, I know how you feel. I used to be a little girl once, and I didn't like to go to bed either. And he came up and took her hand. And he said, let's go back in my bedroom and have a talk about how bedtime could be more pleasant for me. And back there, you know, he said, Mommy, couldn't you lay down on the bed with me and read me a story? Couldn't you say prayers with me? Could we leave the door open so I'll feel connected to my family? And she started to cry. And then he said, is that asking too much? Isn't that marvelous? All he wanted was to be connected to his family, not shut in the cell and in the crib, if they happen, we call those little prisons. And she just really, whoa, yeah, I'll read you a story. Instead of, no, I'll miss my favorite show. So by talking to her inner child, she started to get nice to her little boy. And he was amazed when she did empathy. Do you know stuff like that? He said. Look at me when I'm talking to you. I don't want to. Why? Because fire's coming out of your eyes. And how about this one? You heard me. Most kids would be happy to have what you have. No, you can't go. Now, lots of people think that's love supply number 6, assertiveness. But that's not the way you do assertiveness. Assertiveness is a blend of tenderness and power. You would never say, no, you can't go. You mix 1 and 2. Oh, you'd like to go down there? That'd be so much fun for you. I don't think we'll be able to now because it's dinner time, but maybe later. And then you make it happen, but your nicest pie. Once I had to fire a lady who worked in the clinic that I was in, and I said to her, Peggy, we really love you a lot. It's so great to have you around here, but this probably isn't the best job for you because you're supposed to do what you love and love what you do. And so I'm going to try and find you a better job. And so why don't you just stay home and we'll get in touch with you. And I don't really think this job is working for you or for us. And it's not going to make you as happy. And I think I have an idea about a job where I could help you be more your true self. She said, am I fired? I think you are, but we don't like to use it that way. We just want you to be in a better place. You're not happy here, and we're not happy because you're not happy, and the job isn't getting done. So let's see if we can help you with something else. She was fired, but we're nice as pie. We're so nice that she said, am I fired? You don't have to be mean to be assertive. It's possible to do it. You're no different than anyone else around here. What's that? There's no two alike. You are so different than everyone else around here. I think she meant to say something. Don't interrupt me. Where do kids learn to interrupt? It's usually from their parents. If they always saw parents who did empathy and never stole turns, they wouldn't interrupt. Or if the mother said, wait, I'm sorry I interrupted you, honey. Well, what were you saying? And then the kid says it over and she does empathy. A whole different trip. Well, Dr. Ellsworth, we can't do this. It takes too much time. Oh, yeah? Wait till the time it takes for you to get in the car, take that kid to the shrink, pay $150 an hour, come home. You'll save time by doing it right. Lots of time, not to mention lots of money. You'll grow up big and strong if you eat your tofu. Go ask your mother. You look so cute, I could just eat you up. Would you love me if I was ugly? Right. If you cry, that just means you're feeling sorry for yourself. That's a pity party. Here's another one. Because I say so. I don't know what we're going to do with you. Zip your lip. Right? You're going to sit on that potty till I see some results. We talked about that, didn't we? Potty training, the kid being rebellious. Do it because I love you. Whoa! True love. You don't do stuff because I love you. What did we say last night? True love is purposeless and useless. So these are good statements, and we hear them all the time. Well, it looks like you're going to summer school because you don't do your homework. You're just no good. Go to sleep right now. You clumsy. When I was your age, I was always helping my parents. You'll never make it. Aw, too bad. I guess you have the meanest parents in the world. It's spanking time. Right? How can you stand to live like that? You live in a pig pen. Wait in the car because the Bible says so. That's why lots of people have trouble with religion. They rebel because people cram it down their throat, and you start talking about love supplies from God, and they roll their eyes. You know, sorry, isn't that good enough? You call that a kiss? You're not supposed to criticize kisses or prayers or hugs or your hair has split ends. Now, say thank you. Tell the man thank you. Honey, say please. If you always say please and thank you, the kids will copy you. If you cuss, they'll copy that. You don't instruct the kid to say thank you. You just do it yourself. Thanks a lot. It's so nice of you. Oh, you're nice to me. And the kids are going to copy that. And the kids are going to copy that. And the kids are